all over the world dreamed about a trip to Cypress Gardens, Florida. The sunny skies, warm water, and those water skiers. Wow. Today, folks still dream of visiting Cypress Gardens, especially bass anglers. This week, it's the Everstart Series Invitational Challenge. Top competitors from the Central and Eastern Division here to shoot it out in the season-ending finale. Lots of big fish in the first 2 days. On day 3, Wesley Burnett went long and won the Co-Angler Championship. Today, it's Al Gagliarducci, Alister Johnson, Jim Short, Chip Harrison, Daryl Robertson to see who winds up on top at the Everstart Invitational Challenge.
Well, when you think of Cypress Gardens, Florida, you think, of course, of that big pyramid of water skiers, and it is impressive, but I don't think we're going to have time to watch that today.
No kidding.
Or skiing.
You're not going to make your big debut?
Neither one of us. We got big doings here today on the fishing side. The Everstart Invitational Challenge. This is sort of the season ender for these guys in the Everstart Series. The best of the Central and the Eastern Division. They're here to sort of shoot it out in this season finale.
And they've had up and down fishing for 3 days now. First day was kind of slow. Second day was incredible. Third day, yesterday, kind of down a little bit. Maybe we're on the up day today.
Yeah, we got a great group as well. Let's talk about these guys we have fishing in the final 5. Al Gagliarducci from Massachusetts came all the way down here. Young guy, 25 years old, did really well.
You know, he's had some good days as an amateur in the back of the boat. Now he's moved to the front of the boat. This is by far his biggest day in professional bass fishing.
We've got a Florida boy in the lineup today. His name's Alister Johnson. He's from Cottondale, Florida. And he's, believe it or not, works with nuclear reactors. He's one of these few people in the United States who's licensed to move nuclear fuel around.
You know, we've got 2 guys that lead a very dangerous life before they started bass fishing.
Yeah, Jim Short, another competitor who was an attack plane pilot from the U.S. Marine Corps. 20 years in the Corps, flying all sorts of dangerous missions.
I'm anxious to talk to him about that today. Yeah. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, no pressure for him, right?
No. He told me nobody was going to be shooting at him today, so it's a good day.
Good deal for him. Chip Harrison, a well-known bass angler, tournament angler. Believe it or not, Chip told me that he fishes in 100 bass tournaments a year. Can that even be true?
I was counting that up. That's tough,
isn't it? 2 a week. I don't know how you do it.
Hey, you know what about Chip, though? He has had some tremendous strings of fish in his boat.
Yes,
every day. Yesterday, he just barely squeaked in our finals today, but his amateur caught nearly 17 pounds. Was the champion.
One of the biggest stringers of the week by his amateur yesterday, so he can get guide work.
He's around
any old time. Chip can. And the story of the week has got to be Daryl Robertson won the Millennium Tournament here. Of course, he's had a tremendous year and a half in all his pro bass fishing exploits. And what a deal it would be if he could repeat here at Cypress Gardens.
But he keeps telling us he's a farmer. He'd rather be baling hay. And we have to talk to him about that.
I don't believe that, do you? He's doing too good. We're going to talk to Daryl. All these guys. Fishing is about to begin. The Everstart Invitational Challenge.
Another grand and glorious morning. Look at this sunrise. One more opportunity to excel. You gotta love it.
Well, as our pros head out through this chain of lakes, let's look at the path they've traveled to get to this point. The top 75 anglers from the Eastern and Central Divisions out of about 600 total qualified for this invitational challenge.
And Tommy, these guys fish some of the big name lakes that you see on the FLW Tour, like Okeechobee and Rayburn and Kentucky Lake. As a matter of fact, a lot of these guys fish on the FLW Tour as well, like Carl Sweebeck, Jim Tutt, Bob Beatty, Daryl Robinson, who we're going to see today. Dwayne Harton won an FLW Tour.
Some big names. And, of course, our co-anglers followed the same path to this invitational. Their season ended yesterday. Wesley Burnett, right here in the back of the boat, absolutely blew away the field en route to the championship. Fishing with Chip Harrison, who's in our final 5 pro field today.
Got him?
Oh, I felt like. No, I got him. I got him. Yeah, I got him. Oh my gosh! That is a huge fish.
Don't horse him.
That is a huge fish.
Don't horse him. You got a lot of time left there.
That is a huge fish. I just barely got him hooked too. Right into the net. Oh yes, yes. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Pray look at it. He scares me. Oh my gosh. He wasn't coming off. I had him hooked in the mouth and back around to the gills. Oh my gosh. What a fish, Chip, what a fish. My gosh. Oh, thank you, Lord. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord.
Well, that's almost as big as you, Wesley.
That sucker's longer than my arm. Huh? He's as long as my arm, Chip. Look at that. Oh, I love you, fish. Oh, my gosh.
Well, it's time for him to start biting.
Man, what a fish. That is the biggest fish of my life. That is the biggest bass I've caught in my life.
Seriously?
If he goes over 7, he's the biggest bass of my life.
Wesley Burnett finished the day with 16 pounds even. Believe it or not, he outdistanced the field by 4.5 pounds.
Yeah, and he told us going in that if he won this tournament, he would move to the front of the boat. He was going to turn pro. So we're going to hold him to that now.
Yeah, another pro from Hot Springs, Arkansas. Just what the world's been waiting for. Looks like we got a new pro on our hands, but right now it's time to get back to the present in the final 5, making it through the canal, through all of the obstacles, start their quest for the championship. Final day's competition is coming up. Don't go anywhere. The weather the first 3 days of this tournament at Cypress Gardens has been unseasonably warm, in the 80s. The sky's overcast some of the time. And Jerry mentioned the fishing's been up and down. When it's been up, it's been very, very good. Several bass in the 6 to 9 pound range have been caught.
Well, we have a little cold front come through last night. The Florida fish hate that. 60 this morning, though. Clear. I have an idea fishing's going to be pretty tough today.
Well, our top qualifier from yesterday is fishing on Lake Winterset. That is south from our takeoff point. He is, of course, Al Gagliarducci. He came in yesterday with 10 pounds even. Not catching the big fish, but a good solid 2-pound average to make it here to the final.
And I kind of find this interesting. He's the only competitor clipping the grass and the boat top. He's fishing with a black tube and throwing a worm out there wacky style.
Most of my fish have been coming off the docks. My bigger fish have been coming in the grass here. And it's not on all patches. I have basically 4 patches of grass that I'm fishing. And they're next to a steeper drop out further. It's usually 6 or 7 foot drop around them, either in front of them or on the sides of them. And have to be around docks also. I don't know why that is, but that's where it seems like. I fished miles and miles of grass in practice and just caught them bunched up in certain little areas. I don't know if he'll keep. I doubt it. He's a little guy. We'll put him on the board anyways.
Well, you know what? I don't think those kind of fish right there are going to help him a lot. Probably needs a limit of 2 pounds to get off the series.
Now, Al would take another 10 pounds today. 4 lakes up from our takeoff site is our 3rd place qualifier, Jim Short. Jim really is a mainstay on the co-angler side out on Walmart FLW Tour. He qualified for their year-end championship in 1999. He's one of 3 finalists here that qualified from the Everstart Eastern Division.
Hi, I'm Jim Short. I'm from Ocean Pines, Maryland. I'm 58 years old. And, happy to be here. If I could trade skills and knowledge with any other angler to get through tomorrow, it would probably have to be Ricky Clun. He's been at the top of this game for a long, long time. I struggled, ground them out one at a time all day today and couldn't find my big fish. I don't know where they went or whether they're going to be there tomorrow. If I could ask Rick Clun, I'm sure he could give me an answer. Some people would say I'm a pretty good all-around fisherman, but I think my strength is in my perseverance and determination. I've got a confidence level that if I keep pressing, if I keep pushing that rock, it's going to move. If I keep looking for the answer, eventually it's going to pop up. Ask me tomorrow afternoon, I'll tell you how we're doing. This is what I'm going to do. There's basically there's a kidney-shaped trough right in here where I'm sitting. It falls off from the bulrushes and out from that, what I call the metal bedpost up there. It falls off this way. And this trough sits in here like this and runs around about halfway between that dock and that pontoon boat back there. And these fish will gather up in one little area. I'm not sure I understand everything I need to understand about what they do and why they do it, but on Wednesday, the fish we caught primarily were up in this section here. Yesterday, the fish we caught were primarily in that section behind us. I call it two separate sections because it's separated by that little bend and a little bulge right in the middle of that kidney shape.
Jim Short, a man who has led an interesting life. We'll talk to him more about that later on today. Right now, let's head out over to the most popular lake, has been all week, almost overpopulated. Alister Johnson, Darrell Robertson, and Chip Harrison all fishing within sight of each other.
Yeah, and this is where all the big fish, the 6 and 8 pound bass, have come from all week long, right here on Lake Lulu. And they're starting off the day fishing different techniques, but you just watch. They'll all end up together fishing for those big bass.
Well, I started this morning in Lulu Lake. I've been starting shallow here every day, throwing a rattle trap in about 2 foot of water. I'm going to try to make a pass through here real quick and see what happens before I go out after them big ones.
The big ones being the fish like this 5-pounder that landed Chip in the finals yesterday.
Big fish, monster. Oh yeah. That man, he wants to keep jumping on me. Oh, don't keep jumping.
Where are you going? Just tell me.
I'm just going to try to play him right. Ready?
Yeah.
He's coming right to me.
Okay. Turn. Yes. Yes. There he is. Here.
I may be mistaken today, but I think about 8 pounds will have a shot to win this tournament today. I think fishing's going to get a little tough, but this sunshine should help that shell bar out there a little bit. Get me a couple in the boat early. What I'm doing in this area is basically I'm just cranking these. There's a shell bar out here on the bottom, and we're just throwing crankbaits out on these shell bars. There's some really, really big fish out here. There's been quite a few boats out here fishing. That we're down to 3 today. But it's, you're just roaming around out here throwing these crankbaits and hoping you can get it in front of one that wants to bite. When one does bite out here, it's usually a really big fish. A lot of 4 to 5 pounders, and then quite a few, 7 to 9 pounders have been caught out here. It's just, I think a lot of it has to do with whose day it is as far as who gets the bites.
All right, so we've got 3 guys right here together, Chip Harrison, Alister Johnson, probably the most feared of all 3 anglers last year's Ranger M1 tournament right here at Cypress Gardens, the champion, Darrell Roberts.
And the reason he would be the most feared, I agree with you, probably is, he has a lot of experience on this spot, on Lake Lulu, but primarily on this one little spot. He won the tournament last year right there, and he's done well qualifying there, so he really knows that piece of water. Right now he's doing about the same thing Chip was doing, is running crankbaits and rattle traps around the grass lines, and throwing a Carolina rig out there occasionally. Of course, he's not exactly on that honey hole yet. He thinks that it takes some sunshine, you know, about noon before that really kicks in. So he's not there yet. He's trying to get a limit of smaller fish.
What an incredible year it's been for Darrell Robertson. Take a look at these statistics. Won the FLW Tour Championship and $250,000 at the end of last year. Won the Ranger M1 tournament here at Cypress Gardens, $600,000. Top qualifier in the Central Division. Today he's here in the final. Right now, we'll see the reason that he's here in the final. This is action from yesterday. You can see the co-angler with the net and Darrell Robertson trying to bust into the top 5.
Too close?
Well.
Lordy. Just give us a little help here, Lord, because we may need it here.
I think that one kind of wanted it, didn't
Yeah, he did. Thank you, Lord.
he? That's a fine way to start the day off, dude.
This is another little hot spot right here. Before I cut the 8-pounder. Give me about 3 bites like that, and we will just kind of go drift around.
Here he is drifting around today in the finals, back on the shell bar with it. You can see in the background there's Chip Harrison. And also from Cottondale, Florida, this man right here, Alister Johnson. Alister qualified 17th place in the Eastern Division. He had no top 10 finishes this year, but he was consistent enough to make it to the invitation.
He's also using the old shell bar pattern, and he's fishing with a Carolina rig June bug, and he's also on a little flat A crankbait around out there a lot.
I can get me a couple bites. Oh my God. Oh no. See? Felt like a spot. He didn't feel like he was there. That was a good fish too. Had shoulders. That was good fish. That's okay. You can't hardly feel him though. You just can't hardly feel him. He'll run up there and grab it and just sit there with it. And you start pulling it and he comes with it. And then he bears down, and if you're not ready, see, I didn't have that wrist right.
Alister knows very well that it's not the kind of day to miss fish. Not today. Go back now over to Winterset Lake and Algaki or Duchy.
Al is fishing one of the hottest techniques on the planet right now. He's throwing a wacky worm under the boat dock.
Who knows? Maybe he will, maybe he won't. The ones you have to measure are no fun. I think he may go though. 13. Oh, that's a start. That's a start. Well, I'm gonna try a little something here. See if there's any luck left in Wesley's crankbait today. The one thing I made Wesley do before he left was get this crankbait off his pole and give it to me. I don't know if there's any luck left in it or not, but I'm gonna give it a shot.
Bait, of course, we remind you, come from Wesley Burnett, our co-angler champion from yesterday, was fishing with Chip. I don't know if I'd have given him that lure.
Probably no way. If I would have done what he did with that lure yesterday, I'm sure that thing would have been on my mantle for about the next 50 years instead of letting somebody else go out there and maybe lose it.
Yeah, that's the hot one he did yesterday. Baby bass pattern lure, and he put a chartreuse side on it with a pin. He said that's the only thing he had in this crankbait that had any chartreuse in it. Here's fish. Here's fish. Not a very big one, but Oh, he's barely hooked. Barely hooked. All right. Thank you, Wesley. Thank you. Wesley's crankbait.
Chip Harrison with a flair for the dramatic there. He takes Wesley Burnett's crankbait, the champ from yesterday, puts himself at the top of the leaderboard. There it is right now. Alister Johnson and Jim Short still have some work to do. Welcome back, everybody. Cypress Gardens, Florida, the Everstart Invitational Challenge. We're watching Jim Short fishing here, one of the 5 finalists shooting for the championship today. And fishing here takes a little bit of finesse, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you know what, Tommy? We've seen several days fishing in this area right here. And I was almost to the point where I thought maybe there's not many fish down there because we just didn't see any great catches. And then along comes yesterday and some cloud and some wind. And you know, this is normal. This is how you should expect it to be. But along comes those conditions and bam, there's all the fish. Great strings of fish. So there are some quality fish here. They're just hard to fool in this clear water.
Not a big one, but going in the well. Thank you.
Jim Short gets himself on the board with a technique. You want to have some good eyes. You want to watch where you're stepping if you're going to fish barefoot.
Man, I don't know about that deal. Chip, is there something special out there? And do you go out and just fish the same place over and over again? And the fish are probably there all the time. They're just not, something needs a trigger of those.
Right, exactly. There's a shell bar out there in about 6 to 7 foot of water. And there's a couple deeper depressions in there, but it's like 8 inches or maybe to a foot difference, you know. But the whole key out there is the bluegill and the bait fish. And today I have noticed the bait fish balls are up on halfway up. So I think that that we are, you know, maybe this afternoon they're going to bite for me out there. Conditions are a lot better than what they were yesterday. The sunshine, I think, will make all the difference in the world.
And cover is not the big deal here in this fishing at all. It's more the water depth, isn't it?
Yeah. On the shallow area, like where I'm fishing right now, the cover is just sparse hydrilla. That it's been sprayed, and what's growed back is kind of the key deal. You know, what's crispy and green. But once you get out there on those, you know, deeper fish, those shells out there, there's nothing out there. It's just they're just holding on the shell bottom.
Chip, you mentioned, I believe it was the day before yesterday, and some other anglers have mentioned this too, that anglers who have experience, like yourself fishing in Indiana with natural lakes, have a little bit of an advantage. Tell us the difference between fishing man-made reservoirs and natural lakes, the basic difference.
Well, the biggest difference is that the lakes are small, and, you know, up where I live, a 1,000-acre lake is a really big lake. So on a chain of lakes like this, you know, I'm really used to having people in my pocket and figuring out the little, you know, the little details that you got to find that the other guy doesn't find. Also, you know, with my familiarity with Okeechobee, I've learned that, you know, 6 inches to a foot contour on a lake like this can make a big difference, because these are basically bowl lakes, which, you know, they don't have a great break line area on them. Where I live at home, we've got a lot of water like this, you know, 12 foot, 14 foot deep will be a deepest spot there.
So what you're saying is that for the most part, any angler can figure out the basic patterns, but you're looking for the little special things right within that pattern.
Right, exactly. You're trying to find that little detail. You know, when you got 150 boats on a body of water that fishes relatively small, the guy who figures out that little bitty thing different will be the guy who does, you know, who wins this tournament.
Chip Harrison, our co-leader at this point, the Everstart Invitational Challenge. Interesting point he made.
Yeah, I was just going to say that is a great piece of advice for anybody interested in term fishing. And we are looking at a wacky worm right here.
Is that what that is?
That's
okay.
a wacky worm. And you know what? The man that kind of made that wacky worm famous, Carl Sweebeck, missed by what? One ounce?
1 ounce or 2 ounces
of making the finals and being right here with us. So we know that wacky worm can work. And
that'll work.
He is throwing it on line. And one reason I think it really works well for these guys is, again, that clear water, and it really takes some a very good feel and what we call finesse fishing. That's wacky worm all that.
Al Gagliarducci there. That fish will keep, and Al, the only angler with 2 keepers so far. That puts him in the lead, 2 pounds, 5 ounces, and there is much more fishing to come. Don't go away. Back here at Cypress Gardens, here on Lake Lulu, and this has been a familiar scene for who lives around this lake. Bass boats driving around.
Well,
3 guys left.
yeah, these guys, they very seldom get out of sight of that shell bar, do they? They have a lot of confidence in that spot, and that means a lot. You know, not only do you need to know how to fish it, but know that there's fish there.
Alister Johnson is certainly camped out here. He must be confident because he's committed to Lake Lulu.
I'm Alister Johnson. I'm from Cottontail, Florida. I'm 40. I've been fishing pretty much all my life. Most people say I'm good at Carolina rigs, but probably the strongest thing I have is sight fishing. The bass in the grass, that's what I know, and I'm going to get to do a little bit of that tomorrow.
Cold weather, at least for the moment, has put a little damper on the bass and the grass action for Alister Johnson. He's still sitting on 0.
I'm feeling good about it now. I mean, we ain't got a bite, but that sun's starting to, I feel it heating up. Early, too. Yeah. These fish have been beat on pretty hard, but they're not all gone. You can't kill all these, you can't beat all these fish up. Oh, Lord have mercy, this is a monster. Oh, thank you. Oh, man, I have a heart attack. Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. I can't even think. Who would think the first fish of the day is going to be not 8, 9 pounds? Oh, God. Lord's been good to me this week. Oh, my God. I can't even get the hook out. Shaking so bad. We want to get him in there. We don't want to hurt him. I love these things. There he is, folks. That's what wins tournaments. Not 8-pounders. Oh, he can't even get the live well. He's too big for the live well. Good gracious. Oh. Mercy. Oh. I got to get my composure, folks. You don't ever expect the first fish to be a monster. That's why you get the net ready. Last night I sat out there in them mosquitoes and changed these hooks. And while I was changing them hooks, I thought about this Mark Davis series flat A, and I thought maybe if I could just show them something a little different wobble. I remember in Bugs Island when it got cold, they'd bite these little flat baits, and they bit it. This monster bit it. One more of them, and I believe I can go get me a boat. Whew, thank you, Lord.
him say it. That's what wins tournaments. He's absolutely right, but there is still plenty of time for 4 other anglers to score in much the same way. We're not done yet. We'll be right back.
Hey, Alister,
Yes, sir.
you told us you're a bass in the grass kind of guy, but that's not the case today, is it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah?
I'm fishing at the edge of the grass.
The edge of it.
High driller. I'm throwing in the edge of the high driller where it drops off into this shell bed.
Tell us a little bit about that crankbait that you're fishing with.
Well, it's a Mark Davis series bomber.
I see.
I've been fishing with a June bug trick worm on a Carolina rig and a sour grape color trick worm. And I got to thinking last night about this bait. This bait had that color to it, the top of it, that the sour grape had, and I caught a lot of fish on it. So I dug it out last night, and I
You
knew
mean you hadn't thrown it until this morning?
first morning.
Holy cow.
But what I did, I thought about the cold front, and this little old flat bait is real good whenever you get in the cold frontal system. The wobble is real tight, and I just got to thinking about it. We do it at Bugs when I'm up there when we get in some bad cold, and I just drug it out last night. I said I really want to dig in the shell, so that's what I started with this morning.
Well, I tell you what, we're always around here talking about decisions being the most important thing for a professional bass fisherman, and kind of looks like this gentleman has made a good decision.
Made the right one. Alister, tell us just exactly what you do for a living, because it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I was telling Jerry, I said, you know, I work in some high pressure job. I work on nuclear reactors, commercial nuclear reactors, and I've got a fuel license to move fuel to load the reactor.
Nuclear fuel, radioactive fuel.
Radioactive fuel, and I basically can do anything from the turbine all the way to the reactor head work. But I do mostly do a lot of reactor drive, build the drives, rebuild the drives that operate the reactor itself.
So you're used to a low margin of error kind of situation, right?
Yeah, so they take us in meetings, and we go into a plant, and sometimes, not always, but sometimes the plant manager tells us one mistake, one fuel move, error, and you get to go to the house.
Well, I'm glad you're out here getting some relaxation, Alister. this is all therapy today. Thanks a lot.
What do you think about his theory there? New wiggle. These fish have seen the rattle trap all week, and he figures out something a little different.
Yeah, I think that's some really good thinking there. You know, a wide wiggle is normally the thing you want to do in murky water, and so you get in good clear water like this, and I think the real tight vibration makes a big deal. You know what? These guys, just listen to some of their decisions and some of the things they do. They're pretty sharp, and we always like to refer this as kind of the minor league for the FLW Tour, although some of the big boys actually get in and compete right along with these guys. Still, they are tough fishermen. They just, folks don't know. They haven't run across their names yet. But these guys are good fishermen, making lots of good decisions, Tommy, and they're going to come right along.
Chip Harrison, he's one of them. He gets another fish, apparently.
I don't know. Compared to what we've been catching out here, he looks like he's about 6 inches long.
Good idea of how close these guys are working to each other.
Bumper cars, just about. That
Absolutely.
was Daryl Robinson on the other side of Chip, and boy, just think during the qualifying days it was worse than that. There was there's 3 boats out there now. There could have been maybe 15, maybe 20 boats.
As many as 30 is what I was told. That one spot. Chip Harrison trying to see if that fish is going to make it. Apparently it's 12 inches, so he'll keep that in the hunt, trying to catch the leader, Alister Johnson. Also chasing him is this man, Jim Short, one
I'll remind you right now that our season-ending championship on the Walmart FLW Tour, the big boys on the Red River in Shreveport, Louisiana, going to be a New Year's Eve bash, 11 a.m. December 31st. Don't miss that.
And Tommy, Jim Short is still fooling the heck out of us walking around on that boat without stepping on a hook. Oh, that scares me.
I don't think you should do that. I really don't think you should do that.
But this guy has, you know, as we're going to find out here, this guy has led a very interesting life. So I think it's okay if he does whatever he wants.
Alister Johnson still in the lead. More to come. Welcome back to the Everstart Invitational Challenge here at Cypress Gardens, Florida. That is Jim Short in action fishing with a rattle trap. And what's the key to that? I mean, most of these guys all week have been catching them.
Well, you know, the key to throwing a rattle trap is you have it in the water a lot, you have it exposed to a fish an awful lot, and at all times it's operating in a manner to catch a fish. So, you know what, if you're catching fish that aren't schooled up, you know, just singles here and there, a rattle trap is a really good bait to throw. Of course, crankbait is that same way, but Jim here is throwing at the grass, and you'd really think these guys would be pounding that grass, but they tried it all week long, and it hasn't done that well. So that's what has driven them out to the oyster bars. That's where they're catching those big fish at, too.
Well, Jim, you told us last night you're a good one for not quitting, for keeping on pushing the rock until it finally moves. I guess it needs just a little more pushing today, huh?
Well, I'm pushing. I've been waiting all morning for you guys to call.
Well, that's when you catch the fish, you know.
Listen, I've seen too many of your shows. Now that you're on the line, I'm geared up. I'm ready to set the hook into one. I caught one just a little bit ago, and it's been a pretty slow morning, but that's okay. That's why we fish all day.
Yeah.
Well, and have you been having more luck a little later on in the day?
Yesterday, I had about a 2.5-hour spell where nothing happened right after we caught our first fish early in the morning. But the day before, it was pretty much all day long, one here, one there, all day long, and no special time.
Well, you know, switching from fishing for just a minute here, Tommy, I've been waiting for 2 days to ask him this question. You know, he told me as he was going out the day before yesterday that things were going to be great on the lake because no one was going to shoot at him. and you mentioned that you were an attack pilot in the Marines, and I'd really like to know exactly what that is.
Well, the Marine Corps has one real purpose, and that is to put ground troops into the face of the threat, and everything else is in support of that ground force, including aviation. And we have fighter jets in the Marine Corps that provide air cover for the attack jets and the helicopters. The helicopters are to resupply and to move troops, and the attack jets are to deliver air-to-ground ordnance in support of the troop movement on the field of battle. But as Winston Churchill, I believe it was Winston Churchill once said, there is nothing quite so exhilarating as getting shot at and not being hit.
So for 20 years, you piloted one of those attack pilots.
Yeah, I did, Don.
Jim, we're going to let you fish on, but thanks so much for spending your time with us. Congratulations on this great finish here.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate what you guys are doing in this whole thing for the sport of bass fishing. I think it's just wonderful.
Well, thank you, Jim.
Hold on. Oh, no. There's a big one here. It ain't too big. It's big enough I want it, though.
Not too small either. No, that was a good fish. Boy, when you get to thinking about it, that was just as important as that big fish that he caught. Because the big fish all by himself, you know.
This is a big fish to me
you know
right now.
What really surprised me is that Daryl Robinson was, you know, I think his place just kind of wore out.
Alister Johnson just keeps putting more distance between him and the rest of the pack. He is our leader, 12 pounds.
Everybody, you know, that's still here really had to work hard. This has been some real, you know, it's been good fishing at times, but then there's times where you really had to be patient.
And I think right now that patience is gonna have to wait it out.
Alister Johnson, if you're going to have to wait it out and be patient, it's good to do that when you've got a 6-pound
Yeah,
lead over
yeah.
everyone else. It's a lot more easy to be patient then.
Hey, you know, you get to wonder about these fish, and we've heard them talk a couple of times about something triggering the fish, and they really do think that those fish are out there on the shell bars and on those different little areas out there. They think the fish are there, and they keep saying, you know, I have to throw something to make it a trigger strike. Well, you know, who knows exactly what that is, but they've tried to different wiggle on the bait. They've tried different colors on the bait. Tommy, I actually think you just have to keep throwing and have to keep throwing. Finally, one will jump in.
All right, they're all together in the same place. Here's Chip Harrison. Going to need several good fish. Alister Johnson just put another, well, looked like another pound worth of fish, adding that to his lead.
Boy, Chip has got to be a little bit disappointed because in the last 2-3 days, he has really made some hay out in this little spot.
Just wailed on him out there, but he's just not getting the big ones in the boat today.
Isn't it amazing how excited he is now about that fish? He would not have been that way this morning. Yeah, but he had higher expectations.
Absolutely.
Wesley again. Wesley again. I might have to send Wesley a little money for that. Well, no, I don't have to send him anything. He made plenty of money, didn't he? All righty.
All these guys are after more than money in this tournament and this Everstart series. As a matter of fact, if we move over to Lake Winterset and take a look at Al Gagliarducci, of course, they're also trying to move into the Walmart FLW Tour. This is sort of the farm system for the Walmart FLW Tour.
Yeah, you know, they refer to it as the Nike.
Yeah, exactly.
Nike Tour in golf, and that's exactly what it is. And we're looking at the hat cam here, aren't we, Tommy?
Hey, that's a new innovation, and it's worked. We got a fish on there. Al flipped into that grass, and he got something on, and that's what it looks like when you catch one of those guys.
But you're right. These guys are working really hard. They obviously want to win. They want to win the coach, voters, the money, and everything. But it really is on their mind to qualify and to march right into the FLW Tour.
And the winner here will do just that.
Daryl's got a big one. It's a good one right there.
A lot of times when these guys get to the weigh-in, they don't know what the other guys have got. All the fellas fishing on Lake Lulu here are going to know exactly what the other guys have got.
They're seeing it right in their face. And you know what? Daryl Robinson is such a nice man, very quiet. And I was thinking, as you mentioned a minute ago, of all the money he has made the past season. And I think everybody ought to realize also that he gave most of that to his church. As a matter of fact, I think he
Great point to make.
renovated his little church in his little town there and built an addition on it. And I think that's wonderful. I think we would be way out of line if we didn't bring that up, Tommy.
And another thing to mention, you know, he won $600,000 the last time he was down here. He's going to have a shot at winning considerably less than that today, but his enthusiasm is just the same. He's trying just as hard, and I think that's a mark of a real good.
I think so too, and and really we can say that for a lot of guys. You know, they have so much pride. I don't know of a professional bass fisherman that's out there fishing for money. Yeah, they're trying to make a living. They try to do a good job for their sponsors, but man, there's a lot of pride involved here. They are not out there just for the big buck.
Absolutely. They want to win whether it's a $600,000 tournament or a $60,000 tournament. Hey, they're wrapping up a concert up at the amphitheater. We're about to rush the stage to get the weigh-in for this Everstart Invitational Challenge underway. Alert Challenge.
And how about that Wesley Burnett? He steals the Fuji flashback with a catch from the back of the boat yesterday. Alister Johnson. Alister is the man with a 13-pound, 3-ounce total, and I'm telling you, folks, that's going to be hard to beat.
Meanwhile, back at Cypress Gardens, Alister Johnson, limit of fish, 13 pounds, 3 ounces. One man left, Jim Short, Ocean Pines, Maryland. Jim has weighed in 3 fish. Jim is going to have 6 pounds, 15 ounces in order to win the tournament, to win the Everstart Invitational Challenge. Alister, let's all get up here. We want to be close to the scales. Everybody can see what happens immediately as it happens. Jim, you ready? Bring him on up here. 6:15 is what he needs in order to take the top prize. No. We got a champion right here, Alister Johnson. Let's hear it for him. The Florida boy triumphs here at Cypress Gardens.
What a job by Alister Johnson. He is our Everstart champion for 2000, and of course, if he chooses to use it, it's a wonderful boost for his career, and maybe we'll see him again. Maybe we'll see him on the FLW Tour next year.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.